For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is Vanessa Ortiz of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Vanessa will get a marathon decal showing she watched 26.2 hours of her favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Katie Mitchell, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspired their shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent, SVU, or Original Recipe, and today we're looking at Criminal Intent, Season 3, Episode 8, Sound Bodies.
Someone wanted it to sink.
They moved the boat from the repair yard. They patched it up, put it where the kids would find it, knowing that it would never be able to cross the Sound. Those kids were murdered.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and the host of Crime Writers On and Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Kevin, I'm so glad to be here, but of course, you know I'll do anything you say.
Yeah, okay. If you haven't watched the episode, you have no idea what that joke's about. It just sounds like I'm a...
You people
sound like the patriarchy coming down. And rounding out our panel is our special guest. Two specials. It is from the Day with Dateline podcast. Yay. It's Katie Mitchell. Hi, Katie.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm the resident Vincent expert. So
You are.
Yeah, I am. Oh, that's a big statement. Maybe I'm gonna walk that back. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Well, Vincent D'Onofrio, who famously said on Twitter he'll never listen to our podcast again
because we're mean,
is hinting he's going to make a return to the MCU. That's not the Major Case Unit. That is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
He's been playing Kingpin and Daredevil and Hawkeye and stuff like that. He could even be in Spider-Man 4, but he posted a picture of himself at the gym, these big ripped arms.
Love that. Love that for him.
He like Popeye with a big bald head.
I love that. I gotta tell you, I love all the iterations of D'Onofrio. I like little D'Onofrio, big D'Onofrio, round D'Onofrio,
sideburn D'Onofrio. Yeah.
Edgar D'Onofrio when he's all melting. I love all of him, and I love him every way you can get him.
Agreed. I'm going to have to check out this Twitter that you're talking about.
All right, standing by.
Just curious. All right. I've just made a note here.
Okay. So D'Onofrio's said that he has always been open to a return as Goren and told Dick Wolf 100% he could do it if it is a streaming 6 to 10 episode series. Do you guys think that a 63-year-old Goren would be fun to watch?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't?
Well, I'm asking. You tell me.
You're being ageist right now? I mean, I would love to watch 63-year-old Gordon put anything in his mouth, smell anything, lean over anything. 100%.
And I think it will get more intense as he's now he's been through that much more. I think he's going to come back with even more leaning, more smelling, more random knowledge about poisons, etc. It's going to be great.
By this time, Goren will have memorized the internet.
Yes.
So he'll be unstoppable.
Yes.
He'll be like Ask Jeeves.
Yes. I got this from this Reddit thread 7 years ago.
Exactly right.
Well, now let's take a look at the first half of this episode. Criminal Intent Season 3, Episode 8, Sound Bodies. Well, the members of the congregation on Channel Island are at odds because their church lease is up and they have to leave. At a meeting to discuss things, Laura Kohler collapses and is rushed to the hospital. The doctors say she was poisoned. Then another member of the congregation is rushed in, and then another.
Since last night, there have been 2 more cases. That brings it to 3 dead, 2 in a coma, and 4 in critical condition.
All from arsenic?
Right. The first victim, Laura Kohler, she's one of the deceased. Her husband thought it was a suicide. Then the others rolled in. The common denominator is a meeting yesterday afternoon.
They serve food and drink?
Yes.
With Eames on pregnancy death duty, Goren and Bishop learned that it was the artificial sweetener in the coffee that was spiked with arsenic. Mrs. Kohler had been depressed since the death of her son and 2 of his friends when their rowboat sprang a leak and he drowned. Goren, using several of his super senses, determines the boat had been patched with glue mixed with cake frosting, which would have dissolved by the time the three boys were halfway from shore. Roger says the three teens all had gonorrhea. The detectives talked to Tina, who was with her friend Carolyn watching the coffee and cookies at the meeting. Tina had been withdrawn, but was right as rain once her friends drowned in the middle of the bay. Had she been raped by them? She says nope, and she didn't hang with them sleepyheads. Looking for other possibilities, they check with the health department. They report that 35 of the teen children of those church-going parents were having sex parties. Well, like most Criminal Intent episodes, we get like whipped around after, several different stories, little vignettes. We don't know what's going on. We're introduced to a huge cast, but we do know two things.
What?
The congregation is arguing over whether it's going to leave Channel Island, and you need to ride a water taxi to get there. So when Laura is rushed to the hospital, all of a sudden an old man is wheeled in.
We have a suspected poisoning. Male, 73, BP's crashing.
Ipecac and lavage. Let's get some blood. I'm sorry, do you have any idea what your wife might have taken?
Doctor, there's an ambulance en route with another poisoning. The patient's unresponsive.
Call St. Lucia's. Tell them we might need to transfer.
Somebody, help me! My wife's in the car. She can't breathe. She's having convulsions.
And then another ambulance drives up. And then a guy with a wife in his car. Yep. How fast is this water taxi going back and forth?
It's all I could think about. It reminded me of when people go to Spoon Island, where the Cassadines live on General Hospital, and people are just like knocking on Windermere's door all the time. And I'm like, how many launches are there from Port Charles over to Spoon Island? This was at hospital. It couldn't have been on the island because we know there's very limited space over there, as they establish immediately.
Yeah, they can't have a church anymore. There's such limited space. The church has to leave.
We're supposed to believe that like the water taxi went back, or like they didn't just wait and like put everyone on the boat at the same time.
Larry, grab my schooner. We'll go next.
You completely blew my mind, by the way, because I did not put this together. Of course, how are they getting there? Yeah, logistically, this is a mess.
Staggered. They all should have come over in one boat, like on MASH.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Chopper's radar, yes. This is just one of about a half dozen episodes in which Catherine Irby doesn't actually go on maternity leave. They just give the character Eames desk duty.
No one saw them at St. Brendan's.
Well, they'd have been there if St. Brendan's had a happy hour. I ran their sheets, mostly drunken disorderlies, bar fights.
Which is, I think, actually more for Catherine Irby than it is for Eames.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to run around the set.
And she still gets paid for being there.
She still gets paid, yeah.
Bingo, there we go.
So we know that Eames is widowed, so they explain her pregnancy that she is being a surrogate mother carrying her own nephew. Because nothing is more beautiful than carrying your brother's baby.
Oh, yeah, again. I think it's interesting that they keep her in. I find that fascinating because I feel like that's rare. It would be really easy to just have a replacement while she's off, but they try to work her in really, really hard. It kind of works.
Yeah,
right.
it was always like one scene or a half a scene an episode. Yep. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, maybe she came in every day, like one day, and they all changed their clothes and, they shot all the different scenes. I bet
you they did. I bet you they did it over like 3 or 4 days. They had her come in and just knock out the season. That's probably...
Yeah. Where they jump around, Rebecca, to this, we're talking about 6-7 episodes where they're jumping around all these different scenes. There's no way you can just hide her under a big coat or have her carry a briefcase to cover up the...
You mean like Olivia Benson when she was on computer squad duty and they would always just put a monitor in front of her stomach or like a lunch bag or like a file box or like, it was ridiculous. It was so ridiculously obvious. It was like I Love Lucy obvious.
Oh,
so
boy.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
They had to write it in like Kelly Giddish, R.I.P. Kelly Giddish, by the way.
Oh, my God. Breaking news on that. Apparently not her choice.
Yeah. So Eames, it's actually her sister's baby, but there are 12 states now in which she would have to carry her brother's baby. Yes.
Yes, there are. R.I.P. my rights and yours.
Okay.
Correct.
So Goren is suspicious of the adhesive on that sunken rowboat. So, of course, he not only sniffs, he tastes.
Yeah.
The cake frosting. And something else. And that's white glue. Someone patched the seams with a mixture of frosting and glue.
Is anyone surprised that Goren has not eaten glue before?
I think it's why he is as he is.
I think that's the origin story, actually. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this had to have been homemade cake frosting. You know how I know?
How?
Because that stuff that comes in a can would not melt upon contact with water. It's like all grease. It would absolutely plug a hole in a boat just fine. It would like that stuff, that Duncan Hines stuff. Sorry, Duncan Hines, please don't sue. You could like caulk your bathtub with it and it would be fine. It had to have been like homemade buttercream. That's just like all sugar and butter. Don't you think? I mean, I cook. I know.
Also, maybe detectives should have gone for that. Who has been whipping up a lot of buttercream frosting in their kitchen in the past 3 weeks? You know, and also I feel like a parent would notice if a teen in their house was just making copious amounts of buttercream.
Right.
Also, butter isn't cheap.
Also, if they can go to the library and get somebody's library books, can't they go to the grocery store and say, who's bought 7 dozen eggs?
Right. I mean, you only, there's no eggs in frosting, but
There's a lot of butter. And butter is not cheap, so you would know.
There's only one market on that island.
Who has a cow on this island?
Who has been churning their own butter in the back in the shed?
Okay, so we have a couple of Hey, It's That Girls.
Hey, it's that girl.
So who's playing Detective Lynn Bishop, our temporary stand-in for Eames? Anybody know that actress?
There's a lawsuit, isn't there, against the state you and the parents are suing over the 911 system?
That's Samantha Buck. She had been a VJ on MTV.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I know, right? The website Looper declared her the worst detective in the history of Criminal Intent.
Wow, mean.
She's not that bad.
That bad.
She's not that bad. I mean, there is one point in this where she actually kind of nails it towards the end. But why did they say that? Did they give a reason?
Yeah, 'cause she didn't want to drive the car. And that's why they said that she was the worst. But she has won a Peabody Award for her documentary Best Kept Secret.
Good for her.
So she's living the good life. Also, she's been rated 4 out of 5 stars on WikiFeet.
You keep bringing up that stupid website on this podcast.
I'm writing it down.
How much time are you spending cruising WikiFeet in your personal time?
Well, it works for some people.
Yeah. Apparently you are one of those people.
She has good but not excellent feet. Okay, so.
I'm sorry, WikiFeet is about feet?
Yes.
What did you think it was about?
I thought it was maybe short for something. I thought maybe feet was an acronym. So you got FEET. Okay, no, so it's about rating people's feet?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yes, only women's feet, though.
Yes.
Oh, of course. Oh, I'm so curious. Okay, thank you for that.
It's like if you want a toe job, this is where you go.
This is the jam. The toe jam.
The toe jam. Gives a new term to toe jam. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the actress playing Tina?
There are 3 levels of sleep. Alpha, Theta, and Delta. That's like deep sleep.
Don't know. She looked familiar, though.
Someone I know, yeah, but couldn't tell you who.
Okay, that's Natalie Paulding. 2 Law & Order appearances. Rebecca, how did you not know her from All My Children as Bianca Montgomery?
Oh, my God. That's 100% how I knew her.
Wait. Bianca Montgomery, number 5.
Yeah, that actually is 100% how I knew her. That's 100% how I knew her was from All My Children. Shit. That is, I was like, I should have, like, that soap connection was right there. And of course, All My Children was filmed in New York. So that was a New York soap. Of course she was a soap person. Of course.
Yeah, if you haven't seen All My Children, Katie, and I rarely have, she was there the year that Susan Lucci finally won her Emmy Award.
Oh, big year.
Yeah, I guess that winning storyline had to do with Bianca being, I don't know, in trouble, licking glue, who knows, right? Today, she's a mom, she makes quilts, and her Twitter profile was suspended in 2016.
Bianca Montgomery, by the way, was one of the first or the first lesbian character on a soap opera, by the way.
Really?
I believe so.
So I would know Natalie from nothing, is what you're saying.
Me too.
Okay.
She's not even on WikiFeet.
Not even a WikiFeet profile?
Yeah.
Wow, she's really off the grid now. Okay.
Hey, so let's dig up a Hey, It's That Guy.
Hey, it's that guy.
Who is playing Michael Kohler? That's the father and widower and...
The aggrieved guy?
The aggrieved, yes.
I don't know.
Things have gotten very difficult for her lately. We lost our son, Brian, in a drowning accident.
That's John Fury. He played Paul in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh.
He was in that movie. He was last seen by Ginny before she fainted and Jason smashed through the window, and then he's gone, and then they never address whatever happened to Paul.
Oh, poor Paul.
Oh. Wow.
You see Jason kill and slash everybody, but Paul just vanishes.
Yeah. Well, it's not as exciting, when the naked girlfriend who just had sex dies. Like, no one ever talks about what happens to the boy.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Do you know who's playing his wife, Laura?
Honey, we have to let go.
Well, maybe you can, but I can't.
You mean poor diabetic Laura who had a sugar-free cookie as her last meal? Ew.
What a sad way to go.
Yeah,
no,
agreed.
That's actually John's real-life wife, Denise Golick. She was not in Friday the 13th, but you might remember her from Oh God, Book 2.
No.
Her part is listed as Joan, Don's big-boobed girlfriend.
Wow.
Times were different in Hollywood. So Denise, she was cast as Chrissy Snow in the second of 3 pilot episodes for Three's Company.
Wow.
Yeah, she did not get the part and did save the world for the Thigh Master.
Yeah, she sure did. She doesn't have that, Thigh Master airplane money, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We have a repeat offender.
Repeat offender.
Back again is Bill Hogg as the harbor master. He was Bill in Orange is the New Black.
There would have been 3 inches of water on the bottom before they even reached the end of that dock. I don't see why they kept on going.
He was recently on SVU as a cop in Denver who had a New York accent.
Yeah, that tracks. Sure.
Okay, how about the girl playing Carolyn, Tina's friend?
Claudia, he's waiting.
Nope.
No. Okay, so that's Trisha LaFeiche. You know her from the movie God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead 2. She played.
Wow.
She played Joan, Don's big boob girlfriend. Actually, she graduated law school in 2002. She's primarily an acting coach these days. Her students include Lenny Kravitz.
What?
Julianne Hough.
Wow.
Suki Waterhouse and comedians Pete Davidson and Sebastian Maniscalco.
So she's helping people who aren't actors who have adjacent careers become actors.
Yeah, that's kind of, you don't really have to set the bar very high for that teacher, right?
Yeah.
Just come in, memorize the lines, and don't drool on yourself.
Exactly. Everyone knows who you are anyway. So she probably helped Lenny Kravitz for those stupid Hunger Games movies that are actually really great movies. He wasn't so bad in those. Nice job. Nice job, Olivia.
A round of applause.
Good job.
For you, yes. So lastly, can you give me the name of the actress playing Liv, the girl with the double pigtails who dishes about the sex parties?
Double pigtails.
The double pigtails.
What a signal that was, eh?
They were mean. Like you weren't anything important. But what are you going to do?
Did you see there was an article recently about the tips that women who work as servers in restaurants get if they wear that hairstyle? They get an average 25% higher tips if they wear their hair in that style.
Really?
Isn't
Why?
that disgusting? Why do you think? Yeah, gross.
Okay. Oh, my stomach hurts. Wow. Okay.
Anyway, her name is Ash Burrett. 2 Law & Order appearances. She's mostly worked behind the scenes of different shows like Land of the Giants and Could You Survive the Movies? That's like Mythbusters, but they look at the movies.
Oh.
Their first show was called Back to the Future. Can you travel through time?
No.
No. Okay, end of the show.
Exactly.
Wow.
She was also a production coordinator on The Goop Lab.
Ooh.
That was Gwyneth Paltrow's pseudo-science TV series.
Yeah.
Ash worked on the female orgasm episode.
Yeah.
That's the one where a woman used a hand mirror to masturbate.
I watched it. Not going to lie.
I'm not sure what a production coordinator does in that situation, except maybe get more lube.
Yeah. That was really something, that show. It was really something.
By the way, 10 out of 10 on WikiFeet. Okay, Rogers has a great line when asked if there was any other way that the 3 boys could have all gotten the same strain of gonorrhea. She says,
Less toilet seats and doorknobs are making a comeback.
Not unless doorknobs and toilet seats are making a comeback.
Did they ever go away? I thought that was still a very active theory. No? All right.
Well, I think with those parents, if one of the kids, got found out, that they would just say, I was a toilet seat. And they would believe it.
It was a hot tub.
It was a hot tub, yeah.
I will say, when they said, what are the odds of 3 kids having the same STD? I was like, they're high. The odds are very, very high. What like century do you live in? Like, why would you think 3 kids wouldn't have the same STD who live on a fucking island? Those are high odds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
High odds.
Yeah. The high odds that their cousins are sleeping with each other too, right?
Yeah, I still can't get a handle on exactly how many people are on the island, so probably. Yeah, I feel like it's vacillating a little bit.
I can tell you how many artists are on that island. 1, because every painting on that island is a painting of flowers, no matter what house you go into. Flowers, 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 flowers. An insane number of flowers paintings, which makes me think maybe they filmed in only one house on that island.
Yeah.
Good
point.
point.
1 bakery, 1 parking lot, 7 water taxis.
There you go.
Now, the gonorrhea is a clue, and they check with public health department, who already has created a color-coded spider map of who's been giving VD to who.
I'd buy that poster. It was beautiful.
Yeah, correct. Except it's very not detailed, which kind of drove me crazy. That it's like, it's one of these dots. Well, which one? Who are the other dots representing? There were 40 dots on the chart. I didn't understand. I feel like it would have taken 10 more seconds to just write Jimmy, Cindy, write the names in so you can really connect this graph. No.
Or make it an icon of a greenish discharge.
Yeah, that's true.
Just a slight color alteration.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should be like a string chart murder board, like with,
If you have the opportunity to do string, you do a string board. That's
you got to go
opinion.
3-dimensional. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the chart was already up on a stand.
Yeah, I thought it was
with
a Jonathan.
That 1 page covering it, so they could pull it like surprise.
I thought it was like a Jonathan Adler print when they first did it. It looked like one of those like Target placemats you can buy. Totally.
Yeah. Jonathan Adler for JCPenney. Exactly. Perfect.
And one of those geometric shapes that could be a Windows screensaver.
Totally. Absolutely.
There you go.
I tell you what that chart tells me is that religious abstinence programs do not work.
No, they do not.
No,
I mean, we knew that, though. That's not a secret. I mean, we watch Netflix docs all the time.
Yes, but now you have a chart that shows it's going around. Now I know why the kids weren't drinking that coffee, because it hurts to pee.
There you go.
All right, now let's take a look at the second half of this episode. Goren and Bishop talk to the sluttiest chick they can find about the teenage orgies.
Liv, there were 3 boys involved with the sex parties.
Way more than 3. It was like a mad sex thing.
We want to know specifically about these 3. They ever force girls to participate?
The girl says Tina and her lame-o friends, Carolyn and Claudia, stopped going to the parties. The detectives talk to Claudia at the barn, where she maintains a dog kennel. Goren discovers some old-school flypaper, and its arsenic matches that from the coffee sweetener. Goren notices Tina and Claudia have been repeating lines from classic books that they've never read. So, thanks to the Patriot Act, the cops browse library records to see that those books were checked out by one kid. It's Connie Smith, who was abandoned by his mother and is now living with his uncle, the Reverend. Connie says he has nothing to do with those girls or those sex parties, but he has been excelling at his crime-themed high school science class. His most recent line of research, death by anaphylaxis. Even though he's with Bishop, Goren can still make giant leaps of logic. Thinking about fatal allergies, he learns certain pet medications contain shellfish, and now they must immediately run to the island. They find Claudia in the barn, unresponsive, having attempted suicide with the medicine, which the audience now knows was encouraged by Connie. When she awakens in the hospital, she confesses to the church poisoning, saying the parents were hypocrites unaware of their children's bunga parties. But what about that sabotaged boat? The detectives tell Tina and Carolyn that Claudia is taking the fall for Connie, so he knows that she is his best and only friend. So not to be outdone, Tina admits to tampering with the boat, all to make Connie happy. In interrogation, Connie says Tina and Carolyn will never give him up. Cue the final Goren explication. He tells Connie he drew the girls into his web by exploiting their anger over the orgies, then their fear over the drownings. Everyone in his life leaves him, first his mom and now his uncle, the reverend. Goren asks Connie which of the girls patched the boat, and Connie asks Goren, what did the 5 fingers say to the face? That's when he bitch slaps Goren like Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
In court, Connie's arraigned for the 3 boys' deaths. He crosses paths with Tina and Carolyn, who proclaim their love and fidelity to the sociopathic criminal, just like any future January 6th insurrectionist would.
Now, to be clear,
Yeah.
you didn't think Ponytail Girl was, quote, slutty. You're saying that Goren thought that, correct?
I thought she was in a fictional world. She was slutty. She's a very
because
nice...
that is a very derisive term, and we do not sex shame girls just because they go to orgies and wear ponytails. That is a Goren assumption. Just want to be clear.
Right. She was just, again, holding the lube for Gwyneth Paltrow's friend, which is absolutely sex positive.
Yes.
But let's talk about double ponytail. Liv is asked whether anyone was forced into going to the sex party, and she says,
Nobody was forced. You do it because your friends do it. You want to be tight.
no, that's not how you stay tight.
Ew. Ew.
Going to an orgy is the opposite of staying tight. Not if you're having mad sex. Like
Not
she
if
says.
you use those goop exercises and buy all those Gwyneth Paltrow things that you stick up there to keep it tight.
It's also, I feel like it's incredibly expensive as well. So
And
the
sexist.
things that she's marketing, it's real fun. I didn't appreciate the TLC comment. I'm just going to state that, what they call the lame, what is it, the lame girls? No, what?
We call them TLC, like 3 lame chicks.
Let's just leave TLC alone. Let's let
That's
them
right.
be a group from the 90s, and we'll just let them have it. Yeah,
I'm sure when they saw the boat sink, they're like, no scrubs. Now, by the way, these kids had sex parties and invited everyone.
Yeah.
Including Claudia.
Yeah.
Who is probably the equipment manager for the soccer team, right?
Claudia has a kennel in her barn. Kennel where dogs
Yeah.
wear sweaters, by the way.
Yeah, is she raising puppies? Is she the daughter of a vet? We don't get any explanation why there's a kennel.
Is that doggy vitamins?
Supplements. This one's for their joints so they don't get arthritis.
Is it a shelter? Is it babysitting? We don't know.
And why is it in a barn that needs 2 electric bug zappers?
Yeah.
It's all very good questions.
I do like the look on Katie's face as she's contemplating these plot holes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what led Goren from the bug zapper. I mean, I'm not going to claim to understand his mind, but he got from bug zapper to, I better check out what's in that barn. They might have vintage flypaper. It seemed to be a direct line from bug zapper to the vintage flypaper. And that's just, I don't think I could get there.
And
This
can you
feels
imagine
like a
what is
stretch.
stuck on that vine after being up there since the 70s?
It's pretty shocking he didn't put it in his mouth, frankly.
Also, someone cut down just a piece of it to boil it for the arsenic.
Not the whole thing.
They didn't take down the whole thing. They just went up there with scissors and went snip like that.
All we need is a swatch. Just a swatch.
Now, how's this for an idea that was before its time? A true crime science class.
Love it. Also, how do those kids get to school in the Bronx? Water taxi?
Water taxi, of course.
That sucks. Can you imagine? You know how early high school starts, right? Like 7:30 or whatever?
You get up with the lobsterman.
Can you fucking imagine having to take a water taxi to high school, like in New York, like in December?
Okay, so there's no way that there's a small school. I think I'm being influenced by this show I watched. There's no way there's a small school on the island that everyone
No.
go. Okay, no, they're
Well,
going
maybe there's
into-
like a little elementary school, a one room.
Sure, a preschool or something, but not a
where they eat sugar-free cookies.
Yeah. This would be a great place if you like wanted to homeschool or something. People on this island were like kind of set for the pandemic until they needed to go to Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, this true crime science class, when they hear about this, white women all over America are going to put down their Chardonnays and start grinding on themselves. Like, blood spatter every day. Poisons. English class is just podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
Goren and Bishop suspect Connie's next move will be to use the shellfish extract within the dog joint medicine to attack Claudia and get her to die because maybe she has an allergy. We don't know. So they rush back to the barn. And again, if the only ways to get to this island is a ferry, where do these two police cars come from?
It's a really good question. They're just waiting at the dock. They have police cars at the dock just ready to go.
I think that they just shot so they just skimmed right across the water. Yeah.
Are we certain there's no bridge to this island? We're certain. We're certain?
Well, because we never saw one, yes, I'm certain.
You're right. I'm certain too. Let's just pretend like it's true that there's no bridge and all this stuff sucks, because it does.
Agreed.
It all sucks.
Agreed.
It also, like, the reverend in a local church would not be living in a giant house on the water. There's a lot about this that makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Also, young Connie would also not, this is the most complicated way to have someone to murder someone that I've ever heard in my life, especially because anaphylactic shock, isn't that something that you want it to look like an accident, right? Just accidentally this happened. But then when she's found, there's a note, there's the bottle, there's all of these things that are very clearly not an accident. So why are we doing this the most complicated way?
Well, they find Claudia unresponsive on the floor and they're shaking her, try to revive her. They put an oxygen mask on her. It's like they don't know what to do. I know what to do. EpiPen.
Yes.
It's the simplest thing.
They knew what they were going to find. They were going to find somebody in anaphylactic shock, and they didn't bring a fucking EpiPen with them?
No.
That is correct. But did you know that the new partner can smell poison? Because she does smell that bottle, and she goes,
Chondroitin sulfate.
Whatever, she's got the technical term down. And I was like, so I don't know why they keep saying she's the worst detective, because she's got a Goren-like sniffer.
Yeah, even a better nose than Goren.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
So I've seen a lot of great interrogation scenes in Law & Order history, but never have I wanted to trade places with a perp more than getting to slap Goren in his smug little face.
What did you do to her? Well, it's like the book says, that every sin carries grace within it. Ouch!
That was unbelievable. I did not see it coming.
And unnecessary.
By the way, I've seen this episode before, and I still didn't see it coming. It was a long time ago, granted. It was so great. It was so funny. Like, it was funny, right? It was funny.
I think it was real. I think that I don't know if you'd be able to fake something that. I mean, what do you folks think? Do you think
I think D'Onofrio would have said to the kid, "Go for it."
D'Onofrio's method.
Yeah,
that's
method,
what I
right?
think. He is a method actor. So my thought is that was a real slap. And whoever was playing Connie Smith, I forget the gentleman's name, but
Billy Lush. Yeah,
I think he would have been worried about that. Doing that to Vincent D'Onofrio, just in my opinion.
And that's why he has no IMDb trail after this episode.
Disappeared. I was waiting for the red mark to appear on the cheek, so maybe D'Onofrio is just so great.
D'Onofrio's tough.
He timed that. You were in Full Metal Jacket, and everybody beat you with pillowcases filled with bars of soap.
Yep.
Let some little kid give you a poke. Come on, it's network television.
I actually thought it was real too. Slaps, obviously, like they can do fake ones or whatever, but it was. They obviously sweetened it with some sound too, which made it. What made it funny.
Yeah,
I was like, "There's some Foley in there you can hear because it's so whack."
Mm-hmm. Which the classic slap sound for Foley is made by a guy slapping a wet ham. That is that smack. That is that noise.
Nice.
By the way, there was a cop waiting outside who seemed to really take his time coming in to subdue the slapper.
Yep.
Like, if you get another one in, that's fine.
You know why? Because they all fucking hate working with Goren. They hate it. He steals their lunch from the fridge. You know that he has all sorts of weird-ass habits. He takes off his shoes, like in the squad room. He's just so weird. You know it. You know he's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's even worse than stealing food. I think it's smelly food. It's weird food. So it stinks the entire fridge. You know what I'm talking about, with no regard, because it's something he ordered.
Pimento loaf.
Yeah, he has like a fermented diet, like or something like that, like Tom Brady diets. He leaves the bathroom and everybody's like, Jesus Christ, turn the fan on. He microwaves fish. He's that coworker.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on her way out of the arraignment, Tina quotes Siddhartha, This is the book that apparently they have been quoting from. Connie's put this in their head. She says,
We're the only reality. The reality's inside us, right, Connie?
and it should surprise no one that is not the quote. Herman Hesse said, there is no reality except the one contained within us. Of course, these stupid writers.
Yeah.
This is before, like, you could Google stuff. Although, they did have the book on set.
True.
They had more than one version of it, too.
Yep.
No, okay.
It's like one of those like Gandhi quotes that isn't really Gandhi.
That's right.
That like people put up on their Facebook page in like a big blue square.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
This is a Shakespeare quote. This shit writes itself. Right? Yeah. By the way, Claudia confessed to the poisoning. Tina confessed to sabotaging the boat. Connie basically implicated himself as being the mastermind. Why are they arresting Carolyn? She never said anything. She didn't have any lines.
Nope. She just had that dreamy look on her face.
Yeah.
If you don't say anything, you're also still charged, right? Because she didn't say anything. She was an accomplice.
I guess so. I mean, Tina jumps up to confess, and Connie's just sitting there like, not me, girl.
Oh, sorry. So Tina was making the copious amounts of buttercream frosting in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would have been her.
Yeah, I feel
maybe
like
that's
Tina's
what Carolyn
parents
was
would have
doing.
noticed.
She's like, I don't know how to use a caulking gun, but man, I can churn some butter.
Yeah, I could make a mean wedding cake. So here we go. Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Well, I, first of all, was so psyched when those parents lawyered up right away. I was like, that is what you do when someone comes in and talks to your kid. But then that lawyer was fucking useless. He did nothing. They were like talking to the kids and he never said anything.
Yeah. No.
Useless in court, useless in the questioning. They hired the wrong lawyer. Obviously, the law firm selection on that tiny island is very thin.
Yeah.
There's one lawyer, just like there's one artist, there's the one lawyer, and he
One
really
bakery.
he specializes in like agriculture law. He's not ready for criminal prosecutions.
Maritime law.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do think Carolyn would confess if they allowed her to slap Kingpin over there. All right, let's take a look at the real life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Ripped from the Headlines.
Can't wait.
Oh boy.
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Ripped from the headlines.
This episode is inspired by the 2003 case of poisoning at a church in New Sweden, Maine. On April the 27th, 2003, the 60 members of the Gustav Adolf Lutheran Church attended Sunday services and gathered afterwards for the usual coffee and donuts. Suddenly, parishioners became violently ill, passed out, and were rushed from their isolated community to the closest hospital. 1 man died, 12 were hospitalized, and 3 victims were released. Authorities tested the coffee and discovered that it had been spiked with arsenic. 5 days later, a 53-year-old potato farmer shot himself in the chest. Daniel Bonderson was an usher at the church and had an unspecified dispute with other parishioners. Police said Bonderson left a suicide note confessing to the poisoning. He claimed he didn't know the substance was arsenic, but he wanted to give churchgoers a bellyache, just like they gave him. Despite the confession, FBI profilers claimed Bonderson had accomplices. This further fueled suspicion amongst the congregation that a confederate was in their midst. In 2006, police closed the case. They said that Daniel Bonderson was the only perpetrator, but many members of the Gustav Adolf Lutheran Church still believe he didn't act alone.
So a police investigator noticed that the wastebasket was filled with full cups of coffee. Most people took a sip and spit it out. A TV crew interviewed one of the victims 15 years later. He said that when he drank the coffee, he thought the creamer had gone bad. But then he drank the whole cup. I don't want to victim blame, but sir, I think that illness was foreseeable in your future, even if it was just the creamer.
Is this like a Scandinavian church in the middle of Maine where like everyone is named like, it's like Gustav something and the guy's name was like
I believe it's Swedish.
Okay.
New Sweden, right?
This is like a Scandi noir situation.
It's a very isolated town. It's not an island.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is a great story. I mean, how many people die? Did some people died?
1 person died.
Okay, so it's not a juicy, it's not a great story. But
One person died then.
Okay.
Yes, 6 years after the poisoning, a second victim died. Francis Ruggles had lingering health problems due to organ damage from the arsenic.
Yeah, liver probably, right?
Yeah, and others are still being treated today because of the damage from that.
Yep.
Wow. So wait, so the teenager portion of this was fully...
Yeah, the whole thing with the rowboat, that was another storyline either invented. I think maybe somebody pulled it from a Hardy Boys.
So they mashed up some shit.
Yeah.
But didn't they say the usher was in his 50s? The person that did this?
Yeah. His name was Bondinson. His suicide note said, "I acted alone," and then he underlined that phrase. It seems like he really wanted us to believe that.
Yeah, said he acted alone. I bet it was someone in his family that did it with him and he was protecting them, right?
Well, the rumor was that Bondinson's sister was in on it. She lived in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and she had a bout of serious vomiting around the same time of this incident. So the cops searched her house. The implication was that either she was poisoned accidentally or on purpose.
Huh. What year did this episode come out?
Oh, this was like 2003 or 4.
Okay, so there is actually a case of a frantic 911 call from teens in a boat who drowned off of City Island in 2003. I believe that is where that portion of the story came from.
Yeah, right. Again, in the show, they were suing the city because of the 911
they were
response.
They were disconnected from 911 before cops could pinpoint their location and send help. So that obviously is where that portion of the story came from, and then they just mashed it together with this Maine church situation.
Yeah, 2 good ones.
Yeah, crazy.
And then put a little like Manson and his followers in, because that's what they're sort of leading us to believe, that Connie's going to be this sort of cult leader in the making,
and then
right?
A little sex party, because why not throw that in too? There's probably some sex party thing in 2003
because
too.
gonorrhea sells. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's like the B-side of the Abbey Road album, right? We're just going to have these little bit things, we'll just stick them together, make one long song. By the way, back to that suicide note, it's like saying unprompted, "I didn't kick your dog." Right? You'd start going, "But did you kick my dog?"
Yeah. Why even say it? Right, exactly.
Yeah. I acted alone. Really, really, really. I swear to God.
It's very juvenile. It's like when you're a little kid and you tell your parents, "I did not look at the Christmas gifts. Didn't look at them.
I wouldn't do that.
I didn't eat the cake. Didn't do it."
So all these doctors around, when the patients come in, it was a nursing student at Poison Control who figured out it was arsenic, not like food poisoning. And another nurse told the investigators to go check the coffee. The antidotes came for arsenic, right? After 9/11, everybody got this stuff. When they arrived, the doctors did not want to give the antidote to the patients because if it wasn't arsenic, it would harm them. And again, the nurses had to convince the doctors to do it. Nurses, not doctors. Thanks, Obama.
That's actually quite typical. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
So the following week, they held a reception after the services. The state police came and guarded the coffee. They actually had a trooper, like a Tower of London beefeater, standing next to the urn.
Why not just not serve coffee? Isn't that an easier solution?
Fool me once.
Right. Just bring your own coffee this time. Just coffee. Everyone. Yeah. Wow.
Get one of those Dunks boxes. Isn't that easier?
Box of Joe.
There you go. What is
they
happening?
have a taster, you know.
We didn't buy this percolator for nothing. We need to use it.
It's this.
That is going to do it for us. We want to thank our guest, Katie Mitchell. Katie, where can our listeners follow you online?
You can follow us at Dateline on Twitter and Instagram, and our show is called A Date with Dateline Podcast.
Everyone should listen to their show. Everyone, if you're not, you probably are if you're listening to this show.
Rebecca Lavoie, how can our listeners follow you?
At Reb Lavoie on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can track me on Twitter at Kevin P. Flynn. You can also tweet to us at Law & Order Pod or follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. To get ad-free episodes of These Are Their Stories a week early, sign up for Stitcher Premium. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with U.S. Copyrights Act fair use exemption for criticism and commentary. Go to lawandorderpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in the Yoga Loft above the Bodega in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi studio, and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media.